Life before electricity moved slowly. There were no switches to turn on and no sudden sounds to wake anyone. Mornings began quietly, without alarms or buzzing reminders. People opened their eyes when sleep was finished, not when a clock demanded attention. Light entered rooms gently, passing through small windows and resting on simple walls. Nothing rushed the day forward. Rooms remained dim for a long time. Furniture stayed where it had always been. Beds were simple and familiar. Someone sat up and remained still for a moment, allowing the morning to arrive fully. Thinking was optional, and planning was minimal. The day did not need instructions. Breakfast was simple and ordinary. Bread was common and often cold. Eating happened slowly and quietly, without distraction. Water was poured into cups that felt solid and unchanged. No machines hummed in the background. Only small sounds existed, such as chewing, swallowing, and waiting. When hunger faded, the meal ended naturally. Before electricity, movement required effort. People walked everywhere, and walking felt normal. Roads were familiar and unchanged, with stones that had been stepped on many times before. Each path looked the same as it did yesterday. Walking continued at an even pace, neither hurried nor delayed, until it naturally stopped. Stopping often led to waiting. Waiting was common and unremarkable. People stood quietly, allowing time to pass without resistance. Time moved at its own slow speed, and no one asked it to move faster. Nothing demanded immediate action. Work was shaped by daylight. As long as the sun was visible, hands continued moving. Tools were simple, and tasks repeated themselves without variation. Repetition felt steady and expected. When the sun lowered in the sky and shadows grew longer, work gradually became quieter. Nobody measured time precisely. The sun decided when effort slowed and when it ended. As evening approached, darkness returned gently. A candle was lit, and its small flame stayed close and calm. Light did not travel far, and rooms felt smaller and quieter. People sat without speaking much. Silence filled the spaces between movements. Soon, sleep arrived without announcement. Not suddenly, but slowly, just like everything else. The night continued calmly, and nothing required attention. Chores, waiting, quiet afternoons. Daily chores before electricity were slow and repetitive. Small tasks filled the hours without pressure. Water was carried carefully and placed where it belonged. Floors were swept without urgency. Each movement followed the last in a predictable way. Nothing about the work felt new, and nothing needed improvement. Clothes were handled patiently. Fabrics were folded, unfolded, and folded again. Hands moved as they always had. The rhythm of work never changed, and repetition brought a sense of calm. There was no hurry to finish because finishing did not lead anywhere special. Much of the day involved waiting. People waited for water to boil, for food to be ready, and for others to arrive. Waiting was not considered wasted time. It was simply part of living. Chairs stayed still while people sat quietly, allowing minutes to pass without notice. Afternoons felt long and warm. Sunlight rested on the ground without moving much. Shadows shifted slowly across familiar spaces. People remained aware of the light outside, using it gently until it faded. No artificial brightness interrupted the scene. Sounds remained soft throughout the day. Footsteps, distant voices, and quiet breathing blended into the background. Silence was common and comfortable. Nothing demanded attention, and nothing felt incomplete. When work paused, rest followed naturally. Sitting required little effort. Looking around required even less. There was no expectation to be productive every moment. Time continued at the same unhurried pace. As the sun lowered further, daily tasks slowly ended. Not suddenly, and not by command, but by habit. Darkness arrived exactly as expected. Calm followed without effort. The day concluded quietly, with no need for closure. Life Before Electricity, Part 3. Evenings, lamps, quiet conversations. Evenings before electricity arrived gradually. Light faded without warning, and the sky darkened in a familiar way. No switches were flipped, and no rooms suddenly became bright. People noticed the change only because shadows grew longer and sounds became softer. Oil lamps or candles were lit carefully. The flame stayed small and steady. Light remained close and did not reach far. Corners of rooms stayed dark, and that darkness felt normal. Nothing needed to be seen clearly at night. People gathered quietly. Conversations happened slowly and without importance. Words were few and often repeated. Silence returned easily between sentences. No one felt pressured to speak, and no one waited for exciting stories. Faces were half lit by the lamp. Movements were small and unremarkable. Sitting together required no effort. The evening did not demand activity. Time stretched without resistance. Sometimes, someone stood to adjust the lamp or move a chair. The movement changed nothing. Shadows shifted slightly and then returned to stillness. Everything remained predictable and calm. As the night deepened, conversations faded. Not because of tiredness, but because words were no longer necessary. Silence filled the room again, gently and completely. Eventually, people prepared for sleep. The lamp was dimmed or blown out. Darkness settled fully. Beds waited patiently. The night continued quietly, and nothing interrupted its calm. Life Before Electricity, Part 4. Night sleep, slow time passing. Night before electricity was complete and uninterrupted. Darkness covered everything evenly, without variation. There were no glowing lights in the distance, and no sudden brightness to change the scene. The night stayed exactly as it was meant to be. Houses became still. Doors remained closed and unmoving. Objects rested where they had been placed earlier in the day. Nothing shifted without reason. Silence settled comfortably over every room. People lay down when they felt ready. Beds were simple and familiar. Blankets rested lightly, and bodies became still. Sleep was not forced. It arrived naturally, without expectation or effort. Breathing slowed. Thoughts faded without resistance. There was no sound to follow and nothing to listen for. The mind drifted gently with no interruptions. Outside, the world remained quiet. Paths stayed empty. Fields remained dark. The same night touched everything equally. Time passed without being counted. Occasionally, a small sound appeared and then disappeared. It did not matter. It did not change anything. Stillness returned immediately, just as calm as before. Hours moved forward slowly. The night held its shape. Nothing announced the passing of time. Sleep continued, deep and unbroken. Eventually, the night began to loosen its hold. Not yet morning, but close enough to feel the change. Darkness softened slightly, without becoming light. Everything remained calm. Nothing needed attention. Rest continued naturally, exactly as it should. Life before electricity extended part 5. Extra long loops, quiet nights, deep sleep. Night before electricity stretched endlessly. Darkness covered every room and street without interruption. Windows held shadows gently, and walls remained calm. No sound disturbed the stillness. Every object rested quietly in place, as it always had. Time moved slowly, almost imperceptibly. People lay in their beds, still and steady. Blankets rested lightly over their bodies. Breathing was slow and calm. The body relaxed without effort. Thoughts floated gently and then faded. There was no urgency, no reason to wake. Silence became comfortable. Candles burned softly, their flames small and steady. They illuminated only the immediate surroundings. The corners of the rooms remained dark. Shadows stretched and merged into darkness. Light did not rush anywhere. Nothing needed attention. Nothing changed. Small movements happened occasionally. Someone might adjust a blanket, turn slightly, or move a hand. Each movement was deliberate and slow. It did not disturb the calm of the room. The night remained unchanged. Stillness returned immediately after any minor motion. Outside, the world was equally quiet. Streets, fields, and hills remained unseen under the soft cover of night. The moon moved slowly across the sky. No artificial light disturbed the natural calm. The air was cool and still. Time continued, gentle and unhurried. Hours passed unnoticed. The night stretched in a steady rhythm. Small sounds came and went, such as the rustle of cloth or the distant animal sound, but they did not break the calm. Every sound faded quickly, leaving silence behind. Earlier activities of the day were remembered quietly in the mind. Folding cloth, carrying water, sweeping floors. These repeated themselves softly in thought. The rhythm of daily chores continued in memory. Nothing rushed. Nothing changed. Life was simple and slow. Occasionally, someone sat up in bed to stretch slightly. The stretch was small and careful. They returned to lying quietly. No one hurried. No one spoke. Silence dominated every room. The night was complete and unbroken. Breathing continued slowly. Thoughts were calm and drifting. Sleep deepened naturally, without effort. The body rested fully. Every muscle relaxed. Every nerve felt at ease. The world felt gentle and safe. Darkness was steady and unchanging. Time moved forward slowly, measured only by the soft passage of night. Candles flickered slightly, but the room remained dim. Every shadow remained familiar and comfortable. The same quietness continued, hour after hour. People who were awake moved gently. Walking was careful and deliberate. Every step was soft. Floors made little sound. Doors stayed mostly closed. Windows held faint moonlight without brightening. The rhythm of night was continuous. The night offered no surprises. No excitement entered the room. No loud noises disturbed the peace. Time itself seemed to pause, moving only as slowly as a breath. Thoughts, movements, and sounds followed a calm and predictable pattern. Everything repeated gently. Even as the hours passed, the body's sense of time remained slow. Each movement, each breath, each small sound reinforced the peaceful, steady rhythm of life before electricity. Sleep came and went naturally. It deepened gradually and remained uninterrupted. Small daily routines were replayed in memory, softly and slowly. Folding cloth, carrying water, sweeping floors. Each chore repeated itself gently in thought. There was no urgency, no pressure. The mind and body remained relaxed, safe, and calm. Every flicker of light from a candle reminded the sleepers of the slow, simple patterns of life. Shadows remained unchanged. The night remained steady. Nothing demanded attention. Nothing caused concern. Stillness was the only constant. Time passed as slowly as possible. The night stretched indefinitely. Outside, the moon moved slowly, clouds drifted gently, and trees remained still. Inside, rooms stayed quiet. Beds held sleeping bodies. Blankets rested lightly. Silence ruled without interruption. Soft breathing continued. Thoughts floated like clouds and then dissolved. Movement remained minimal. The candle's flame flickered but did not hurry. Shadows stretched and merged into the corners of the room. Darkness remained steady. Sleep deepened steadily and calmly. Minutes merged into hours without notice. Every sound and movement was slow, controlled, and deliberate. Nothing disturbed the calm of the night. Every breath reinforced the sense of safety, comfort, and peace. Time was gentle, unhurried, and predictable. The night continued without abrupt change. The world outside remained calm, distant, and quiet. No artificial light disturbed the natural rhythm. The moon continued its slow course. The air remained cool, still, and gentle. Time passed slowly, naturally. People slept, rested, and breathed quietly. Bodies were calm, minds were relaxed, and thoughts drifted softly. The absence of electricity made the night still and predictable. Every shadow remained in place. Every object stayed quietly. Silence continued uninterrupted. Occasional minor movements occurred. A hand adjusted a blanket. Someone turned slightly. A small breath moved differently. Each action was gentle, deliberate, and brief. Stillness returned immediately. Darkness and calmness dominated the room. Sleep remained deep and peaceful. The rhythm of life before electricity continued softly in memory. Daily chores, walking, sitting, folding, carrying water, sweeping floors. These routines repeated gently in thought, reinforcing calm and stillness. No urgency, no pressure, no excitement. Only slow, continuous peace. Sleep deepened further. Breathing became slower, calmer, and steady. Muscles relaxed completely. The body felt weightless, as if time had stopped. Darkness enveloped everything. No sound intruded. No movement disturbed the calm. Every moment was gentle, predictable, and safe. Hours passed slowly. The night stretched with steady calmness. Candles flickered faintly. Shadows merged and remained motionless. Breathing remained rhythmic. Thoughts faded. Silence dominated completely. Sleep was uninterrupted and deep. Even near the end of the night, time continued slowly. Darkness softened slightly as the moon lowered. Light changed subtly, but not suddenly. Movement was minimal. Bodies remained relaxed. Sleep persisted calmly and naturally. The night remained complete, peaceful, and unbroken. Night continued quietly, as it had for hours. Darkness settled evenly over every room. Shadows merged softly with walls and floors. No noise disturbed the calm. Objects remained still, exactly where they had been. Time moved gently, slowly, and predictably. People lay in their beds, bodies relaxed. Blankets rested lightly. Breathing was slow, steady, and even. Thoughts drifted softly and then faded completely. Sleep deepened naturally. No one needed to wake, and nothing required attention. Silence felt safe and comforting. Candles or oil lamps flickered softly, their small flames steady. The light reached only nearby objects. Shadows stretched into corners and remained still. Everything was calm. Nothing changed. Nothing demanded focus. Small movements occurred occasionally. A hand shifted slightly, a blanket adjusted, someone turned slowly. Each motion was deliberate and quiet. Stillness returned immediately. Darkness remained constant. Sleep persisted deeply. Outside, the world stayed still. Streets, fields, and hills remained invisible under the soft cover of night. The moon moved slowly. Clouds drifted gently. The air remained calm and cool. Time moved gently, unhurried, and predictable. Hours merged together softly. Minor sounds appeared and disappeared. A rustle of cloth, a distant soft animal sound, but they did not break the calm. Silence returned immediately. Sleep continued undisturbed. Daily routines replayed gently in memory. Folding cloth, carrying water, sweeping floors, walking slowly. Each memory repeated quietly, without urgency. Life remained slow, calm, and predictable. Breathing became slower and steadier. Muscles fully relaxed. The body felt weightless, as if time had stopped. Darkness enveloped everything. No motion disturbed the calm. Every moment was gentle, predictable, and safe. Time passed softly. Shadows merged with darkness. Candles flickered faintly. Thoughts faded. Silence dominated completely. Sleep deepened naturally. Every breath reinforced calm, comfort, and safety. As dawn approached slowly, darkness softened without sudden light. The room remained calm. Body stayed relaxed. Final deep sleep loops, long night, gentle passing time. The night remained endless and calm. Darkness settled completely over every room. Shadows stretched slowly and merged with walls and floors. No sound disturbed the stillness. Every object rested quietly in place. Time moved gently and without urgency. People lay in their beds, completely relaxed. Blankets rested lightly over their bodies. Breathing was slow, steady, and calm. Thoughts drifted softly and faded naturally. Sleep deepened further, uninterrupted. Silence was comfortable, safe, and continuous. Candles or oil lamps flickered softly, small and steady. Their light illuminated only the immediate surroundings. Shadows stayed still in the corners. Everything remained calm. Nothing changed. Nothing demanded attention. Minor movements happened occasionally. A hand shifted slightly. Someone turned slowly. A blanket was adjusted. Each action was deliberate and quiet. Stillness returned immediately. Darkness and calm remained constant. Sleep persisted deeply and naturally. Outside, the world remained still. Streets, fields, and hills were hidden under soft darkness. The moon moved slowly. Clouds drifted gently. The air stayed cool, quiet, and calm. Time moved predictably and gently. Hours passed softly. Minor sounds appeared and disappeared. Rustle of cloth, distant soft noises, but they did not disturb the calm. Silence returned immediately. Sleep continued, uninterrupted and deep. Daily routines of the past replayed gently in the mind. Folding cloth, carrying water, sweeping floors, walking slowly. These memories repeated quietly and calmly. Nådigen existed. Life remained slow, calm, and predictable. Breathing slowed further, becoming steady and rhythmic. Muscles fully relaxed. The body felt weightless. Darkness enveloped everything. No motion disturbed the calm. Every moment was gentle, predictable, and safe. Time passed slowly. Shadows merged with darkness. Candles flickered faintly. Thoughts faded. Silence dominated completely. Sleep deepened naturally. Every breath reinforced calm, comfort, and safety. As dawn slowly approached, darkness softened gradually. Light entered gently through windows. Bodies remained calm. Sleep continued naturally. The night remained peaceful, unbroken, and complete.